Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video, we're going to be creating our little ornaments. I'm going to be creating two. And I like to call these 5-minute ornaments because they're super easy, but they can really have a nice impact depending on the colors that you use. Now, with what I'm going to show you, you are more than welcome and you're actually encouraged to use what you have so you can make the ornaments truly your own. So go down the table. So I have these little micro canvases here. You can also, these are from Royal Brush, and these ones here I picked up. These are magnets. I picked these up at Walmart. They're from Dale Rowney. Really nice little canvases. For what I want to do, I'm going to be using these ones because I sized the project based on the stencil. I'm going to be using this decor stencil. It's a sticky back stencil. What's it called? Holiday Cheer. It's a gloss enamels, but I use it for everything. And I'm going to be using this star and the tree. I'm going to be painting these black, but I'm not using carbon black. I'm using my own black, and I'm using Decor Traditions permanent alizarin crimson and phthalo green blue to create my chromatic black. If you're using the Decor Media fluid acrylics, quinacridone burnt orange, quinacridone magenta, and phthalo green. I have it in the studio under the color theory stuff. I can't believe I make it all the time. I can't believe it. Yeah, quinacridone burnt orange, quinacridone magenta, and phthalo green blue, and that'll make your chromatic black really nice. And then so we're going to prime it. Then I'm going to stencil the Decor Americana texture, and this, what color is this? Deep turquoise. Love that. Not really a Christmassy color, but I'm loving these metallics. So I'm going to use that. Really that's it. So you prime, you stencil, boom, it's done. To further go on to that, because we can't really hook these up, if you want to put them on a wreath, you can just glue them on to your wreath. But I like to put the ribbon because I can hang it on a traditional wreath in case I want to change out my ornaments or put it on a tree. So I've got my glue gun and I've got my ribbon, which I will do at the end. As with all things that you want to last for a long time, you should always prime it. So just to quickly show you, sometimes I would just talk this through and skip the step, but depending on where you're coming in from watching this project, I'm gonna show. So this gesso is a tube gesso, which is super thick. The Decor Media gesso is just as good, and Decor's got a regular gesso. So just dry brush and put it on there. So if you're using, let's say, little wood block, you'd want to make sure you prime it, because if you don't prime it, what happens is that the paint just sinks, especially if you're using fluid paint, sinks into the wood, and then the color is not as intense because wood is brown, so this color is going to show through. So base coating it with white. If you don't have gesso, use just titanium white. This will also get rid of a lot of the texture in the canvas. Now these canvases already came primed, but what I like to say is when you're wanting to have something last a long time, I have no idea what the manufacturing process on these. I know these canvases are not museum quality. By adding this additional gesso onto here, it just makes it even better. Okay, you can see how this gesso here really isn't white. So let's just put that on there anyways. I'm just going to do the front, and then you just let it dry. So when you get a whole bunch of blocks, or you can use watercolor paper, that you don't have to use the mini canvases, prime them all in one batch. That way it's all done for you. It's all done. You don't have to waste your time during your creative process, because we all know how much prep sucks the creativity out of us, right? All right. So that's that. So these are going to dry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to prime the surface. Now I want to show you how to figure out the color. I'm going to get some white card swatches. So when we're doing our color mixing, oh my god, I need to move this thing closer to me, Mike. Oh, when we're color mixing, so if you want to really go through all this, the color mixing section in the studio. Really, it teaches you everything. If you want to use carbon black, that's fine, but it's going to be a flat black. Take black and you can add a color to it to tint it, but it's so much better making your own chromatic black. That way it's not going to be so dull. The alizarin crimson and phthalo green are opposite on the color wheel, which makes it ideal for this. They're both transparent. So I'm just going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little bit of the phthalo, and depending on the brands that you use will determine the color. Because the phthalo green leans towards blue, it's going to go perfect. Look at that. So how do we know really what the true underlying color is? And I cleaned off all the... Let me take some of that gesso. You just add a little bit of white to it and you can tell this is on a violet side. So it works out just fine. I had to kill time for the canvases to dry. So that's your quick color mixing lesson. If you want to make it more red, add more red. You want to make it more green, add more green. I added a bit more green to it, so it's more on the blue side. And I should be wearing gloves for this. Because I get paint. I don't know why I even do my nails, because my fingers get just covered in paint. So I'm just going to do the front, put that aside. So that's why if you do these in batches, I make this one more on the red side. If you do these in batches, it works out to be much, much faster. But you should be able to do these in 15 minutes. I'd say 5 minutes, but then you've got drying time. So, gotta be fair, right? And then you can come in, use the same color, even though it's more on the red side. This is where my hands are going to get dirty. But yeah, let your pieces dry as you do each side. And what's going to happen as it dries, you're going to start seeing speckles coming up from the canvas, and that's because the canvas is so textured. So if that happens, just put another layer on and you'll be fine. The more fluid the paint, it'll be a little bit easier for the paint to sink into the texture. So that'll be fine as well. If you find that it doesn't matter how many layers of paint you put on there and the white's still showing through, it's likely that the brush is just too soft and it's not pushing the paint inside the pores. I have a blog post on that, on how to determine if that's the problem. But what you can also be is that there's a plastic film for manufacturing on the canvas. If that's the case, just give it a sand, put some gesso on there, a layer of matte medium, and then the paint. And there is a particular brand out there that did happen to me quite a few years ago. It didn't matter what I did, it just repelled the paint. That's because of the manufacturing. It was sealed in plastic, and the plastic, there was a film. It was actually on the canvas. It drove me bat crap crazy. All right, so going to clean off my fingers and let these little canvases dry, and then we're going to stencil the paint. Now the paint, it's with a palette knife, so that's what gives it, you know, the dimensional look. If you don't have that texture, what you can do is you can take just any texture medium or a thick gloss medium, and you can, depending on the brand, like the Decor one, you can add paint to it. Just read the label, and then you can do that. But these are new products that came in last Friday, so I have to dry them. Have to. Now I just fired up the heat gun because I'm not the heat gun, the glue gun, because I want to put the ribbons on as well, without waiting for this to dry. Think of this as well. Any stencil that you have, find a substrate, so whether you use canvas, wood, whatever, and you could do this as on a larger scale. The Winterberry wreath stencil would be, that's where this idea came from during one of the last videos, is painting a canvas black, stenciling that Winterberry wreath, and then that'll be the project, which I'm still going to do. All right, so now these stencils aren't meant for this purpose, so we're going to have to be a little bit more careful with these. What I love about these is that they stick to what you're working on. And I wish I would have had a green texture paint. I didn't. I just got some of the colors. never... Oh. Wow. Just take it right from here. Gotta be careful not to get it... Crap. Crap. Not to get it on the outside. Oh, this adhesive is... Yep, and I got it on the outside. Okay, that's okay. It's easy to clean up. This palette knife is too big for what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so let's use what we just experienced there. Oh, see, this one's much easier. And I can put this on really thick. Let's see how thick we can go. You got to be careful with this stuff too. Well, mind you, I've never used this, so this is all an experiment. I kind of like it when things go wrong because then I learn something. I know a lot of you get all freaked out when things don't go right, but use it as a learning opportunity. Oh, look at that. Whoa. Okay, with that there. This one's gonna be, ooh, okay. Now, I'm not editing this out. I get flack for this. People saying, you really shouldn't be showing your mistakes. Shows you're unprofessional. No, it shows that I'm honest, that not everything works out well for me. I want to show you how I get around the mistakes, because if you make the same mistake, take a baby wipe and just lightly. Oh, the paint wasn't quite dry. Look what happened. Oh no, it wasn't dry. The blue dissolved it. So what do? It's ideal. Take a little bit more of your mixture and just paint it. Wait for when you wiped it off, wait for that to dry. A little bit of the canvas showing through there. So you know what, because we're using a chromatic black, because the colors are going to be all, this will show a different color, I'm going to work the outside edge to make it look like a vignette. Because chromatic black, the mixtures are never going to be exact. If you want your mixtures to be perfect, just use flat black, carbon black. There we go. Look at that. Whoa. All right. Take that. I'm coming up with so many ideas. I'm covered in blue. All right, so we did our paint, we did our texture. What is that? Piece of paper. Okay, we should let that dry. Not gonna. Oh, you know what? A blue ribbon would be nice for this, but you know what? I don't have any blue. Sugar. A blue ribbon would have been really nice for that. Because I have no idea how I'm going to hang these, that's overkill. Let's just make them this way. Make it like, you know, there's different charities, but I call it a support the troops ribbon. And you can I just got my fingers in the wet paint. I am so clueless when it comes to stuff like this, I swear. I don't pay, you know what it is? I don't pay attention. Like even now I just got that in there. I don't pay attention. When I was mentoring a young girl for school, I would get mad at her for not paying attention. And now I'm doing the exact same thing. All right. Ooh. That's... Now when you're using the hot glue gun, of course, make sure you're careful because it's hot. Use white glue if you want. Never do your gluing over your piece. Where's mine? Oh, see, I just reached over the hot glue gun, and I likely would have burned myself. This is no stick mat from Unstick. This is for the actual cake pan mat, which I damaged. So I just cut it into pieces, and I use this now for my hot glue, placing pieces, and my resin. Nothing sticks to it. Nothing. I mean, nothing. 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 There we go. That's number one. Using a brush with paint on it. Smart. Okay, turn that off. All finished. Let's put it on here. That table is dirty. There we are. So there's some instant little ornaments for you. Pretty modern looking. And doesn't take long before you can reform. You can use twine if you want. You don't have to use ribbon. But there we go. Easy peasy. Now I know we're 20 minutes into this, but I showed my mistake and all that stuff. So, but these really, if you do everything all at once, maybe 10-15 minutes, not including drying time. All right, so I like to see what you're going to create. Do your own version. Post a picture below, and if you have any questions, also post that below. So when you post your pictures, I would like it if everybody else can then try to make an ornament based on that inspiration, and then post those pictures. Then people can take those ideas and make their own version. That way, you just spider webs off from one idea. Everybody posts a picture, then people create pieces based on that. Then people create pieces on that, and it just expands into a spider web of ideas. All right. Hope that you enjoyed this, and until I see you in the next lesson, stay inspired.